Hey, John Gilroy here. How do you find a needle in the haystack? Today, we look at innovation in the world of digital investigations. Hit the music, Manny. Welcome to the Federal Tech Podcast, the podcast that connects you to federal technology leaders. My name is John Gilroy, and I will be your moderator. Our guest today is Maurice Cook, Global Head of Pre-Sales Engineering for Cellebrite. Cellebrite. Maurice, so you got a lot to celebrate at Cellebrite, huh? A lot of news there.
Absolutely, John. Absolutely, John. We're excited for the future and helping our federal agencies with their digital investigative platforms.
I got a stack of press releases here, all kinds of stuff going on with you guys. I noticed doing my research that you guys have been around since 1999, and I guess you're very well known in the commercial world. Now you're moving into the federal market very aggressively, it looks like.
We spent a lot of time working with mobile platforms and providing, capabilities to law enforcement to help advance and add efficiency to investigations, and we're expanding that throughout law enforcement and federal agencies.
You know, when you watch these whodunits on TV or in the movies, they're always going through file cabinets and they're getting this evidence and that evidence, and somehow it all comes together. But it's not quite as easy as on TV and the movies, is it? So a digital investigative platform, I mean, there's a whole lot to it, isn't there?
So, Cellebrite empowers agencies to modernize their investigative workflow and close a widening public safety gap, right? And that's driven by ever-growing digital sophistication of crimes and evidence. 90% of crimes today involve a major component which needs to be accessed and analyzed. And whether it's data from a cell phone or computer, or information stored in social media applications, or video from a Ring camera, these digital witnesses, as we call them, are critical to solving crimes. So Cellebrite enables its nearly 7,000 customers across federal, state and local, and public safety agencies around the globe to ethically collect, review, analyze, and manage this digital data through our case-to-closure platform of solutions. And this supports a faster investigative workflow and higher crime clearance rates. So that's what we do. That's why we're here.
Oh, Maurice, you just got the phrase that pays, ethical. I teach out at Georgetown, and every class at Georgetown has to have an ethical component to it. Math, history, philosophy, they all have to have. And I think in our world today, I think that word is getting more and more important. I think that's one of the focal points of your company. What they do is they're very serious about adhering to the rules. I would imagine the rules for collection in the commercial world are slightly different from the rules for collection of information in the federal government. Is that right?
That's absolutely right, right? The commercial world, whether you're providing devices, you have certain liberties. However, in the public sector world, we really want to focus on protecting data privacy. And that's a core part of our mission here at Cellebrite. While citizens should be able to keep their personal information and private lives free from unnecessary and unwanted intrusions, investigations sometimes require authorized and lawful access to an individual's private data. When this occurs, citizens must be confident that the technology and the tools utilized in the investigative process can maintain the security of their data. And Cellebrite's digital platform adheres to a standard, model of confidentiality, of integrity, and availability to keep, investigators within their legal boundaries, right, while also providing a roadmap to ensure personal privacy.
I intentionally used the name Maurice in the beginning so people could find you on LinkedIn. I guess your friends call you Mo. So I'm going to call you Mo here. So Mo, you walk into the Gilroy coffee shop and I tell you, Mo, I got the best coffee in the whole world. Great. So you pay $5 for a cup of coffee, and then it takes a half hour to get it, and it is the best coffee in the world, but it's cold. And so you may be ethically correct and you may be accurate, but what good is it if it's maybe too late? The horse has left the barn or something. So speed is important in this whole discussion, isn't it?
Absolutely. Time to evidence is really, really critical in helping investigators solve crimes. When we provide technology, in many cases, you've got a very short window to get to that needle in a haystack and get through that evidence. So we focus on simplifying and adding efficiency, adding automation, so that the critical, investigators can get that critical information as soon as possible without delay and without complications.
Collecting information from different endpoints. I was at an event on Wednesday all kinds of people there. I heard a talk by a woman named Brigadier General Heather Blackwell.
Okay.
And she's fascinating. She said that, the DoD, they collect information from 3.2 million endpoints. I mean, you want to be in charge of that, Mo? I mean, wow, that's a lot to worry about, isn't it?
It absolutely is, right? But the critical things about those endpoints is they all need the most advanced capabilities in order to accomplish their missions. So what we do is we focused on not only providing those technologies, those advanced access capabilities, those advanced analytics capabilities, but also providing the training that they need to be effective. And especially in the federal and the DoD arena, we've recently formed our Cellebrite Federal Solutions organization, which is focused on adding more value to those federal programs, consulting with those federal agencies and better understanding their needs and providing, the field solutions that they need. Also providing the security that they need and efficiency, with regard to efficiency and automation. Another thing we're doing in that federal space is we're undergoing our FedRAMP authorization process, right? Which I know you recently talked about with your podcast with Fortran. So we're working with a third party to go through the FedRAMP process to add even more value and focus in the future.
Yeah, I think I'm going to reiterate this. Some of the listeners are walking their dog. They're at the gym doing pull-ups or something. So the company is Cellebrite. You can find that at Cellebrite.com. And the unit we're talking about here today is Cellebrite Federal Solutions. And I get these mandates all the time. I got a mandate from the White House this morning, and I have to say artificial intelligence in every podcast. So Mo, it's the obligatory 8-minute mark. I got to say artificial intelligence. So tell us about artificial intelligence and how Cellebrite Federal Solutions can help my listeners.
Yeah, so artificial intelligence is a key component of our investigative platform. So Cellebrite's AI technology allows investigators to easily organize information and automate tedious work. For example, when you extract a device, when you access a device, you need to review that information. And these devices can have millions of images, right? And an investigator, we talked about that time to evidence, doesn't have time to manually sift through all of these pieces of media. So once that device is accessed, we leverage AI to automatically categorize those images to speed up the time it takes to get to those images or videos that matter. Likewise, a device could have multiple text messages, thousands of text messages. And to get through those messages efficiently, we leverage AI to give you some contextual analysis of what the topic of that conversation is. So those are ways that we leverage AI to provide significant value to investigators, speed up the time that it takes to get to that needle in a haystack. And that's very, very critical for federal investigations, whether those are civilian or defense-related investigations.
Well, Mo, you may be going out this weekend and go golfing. What golfers always say is drives are for show and putts are for dough. So in this world, investigations are for show and closures for dough. I mean, is that the new T-shirt we have here? Or, you got a case going, but you have to have the closure on it, or you don't get the little Cupid doll, huh?
Absolutely. It's all about results. And at Cellebrite, what we do is we provide a suite of solutions that add value throughout the investigative process, whether it's on the access side of the house, providing, access to cell phones, computers, social media accounts, or video content, or the data management component where, we allow secure access and sharing control of information to only those authorized to see that information, or the analysis component, which is at the end of the investigative process, where we leverage AI to come to various conclusions. That entire workflow is what let you get to that putt in the hole, right? To get back to your analogy. So it's a full workflow from driver to the putter. Cellebrite provides advanced access, controlled data collaboration and sharing, as well as advanced analysis to get the ball in the hole.
Now, if you watch the TV shows about investigators, there's all kinds of information. There's structured and unstructured information. You have photos. You may have analysis from the lab. You've got maybe statements from people. You may have video. I mean, some of this is structured, some of this unstructured. And I would think that would be difficult to coordinate all those different types of information into a package that you can present and close a case.
It is, but we've worked closely with our agencies, our partner, customers to develop a platform that does just that, and that's our Guardian platform, and that allows you to take these various evidence component, put them in a repository that provides secure, authorized access, and a kind of a single point of management for evidence for all the relevant stakeholders with the right levels of authorization. So we do provide a platform like that for evidence management and control and auditing of the evidence content.
Okay, let's decide my new career is a crook. So I go next door and I rob my neighbor of a chair. And I'm going to touch something in the house and I'm going to leave a fingerprint. And I guess that is, we might be called that some kind of a footprint, huh? So
Yeah.
In the digital world, there's digital footprints too, aren't there?
Absolutely. Everyone every day leaves a digital footprint. Whether you're leveraging social media or using, sending text messages or making phone calls, browsing the internet, whenever you communicate with anyone or use a digital device, you're leaving a footprint. And when you marry that with all the other devices in our daily lives, like closed circuit television or Bluetooth technologies, you name it, we can begin to understand where a person, has been and who they communicate with. While individuals can sometimes make attempts to erase themselves with some of this stuff, Cellebrite's technology can lawfully access and analyze all of this information and take those digital footprints and build a story for investigators.
Well, the next question is pretty logical here. If someone can create a digital presence online, one can create a digital presence that's not authentic. So what's the magic sauce? How do you know if it's John Gilroy or John Billroy or someone faking me? I mean, how do you know that?
Yeah, so one of those areas, when people leverage AI for deep fake, you've got to have advanced analytic capabilities to identify that. And that's part of what Cellebrite's working on in its AI platform, is to help identify such fake content, right? So that's part of our AI roadmap and part of the technology offering that we want to provide to make the identification of such deep fake simple and easy to investigators.
I think it's pretty obvious that your product would apply to law enforcement, maybe military, maybe intelligence community. But I saw on your website you're doing work with NASA. Is that right?
Absolutely. We do work with almost every federal agency, right?
No, wait a minute, Mo. Really, NASA, every federal agency? They're all doing investigations?
Well, John, sometimes they're just internal investigations that need to happen.
Ah.
So whether it's some type of internal investigations, whether some level of internal affairs, they need the capabilities to access the information that's critical to get to the root cause of their problem. And so, yes, we support some agencies that one wouldn't guess would have advanced digital investigative capabilities.
This is amazing. I was at an event, as I told you, and I heard the word resilience about 50 times. And you're going to get attacked, or it could be internal, could be external. So you got to figure out who's on first, what's on second. So bring in Mo Cook to figure out, okay, someone leaked something. How do they do it and where? I never thought that this might be a possible application for Cellebrite, huh?
Post-incident, when we look at all the sources of digital information and communications, many times you've got to look at these digital devices and pull out, that roadmap of those footprints that led to that. So it's absolutely an application. It's something we focus on added efficiency to every day.
So this interview really applies not to just to 3 or 4 communities. It applies to so many enterprise organizations because, let's face it, sooner or later, something's going to happen and someone's going to walk up to you and say, okay, Sally, who did it? And well, time to call Mo Cook because, finding out who did it's not always easy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're not limited to any specific segment, right? Our technology, applies to almost every investigation. They all have some type of digital element. So our, digital investigative solutions can help access and interpret organized information and evidence for virtual any crime type or any situation.
My goodness. Do you see any trends in your federal investigations in the last couple of years, something that's more obvious or not obvious than others?
Yeah, well, definitely there are multiple trends. So one, the amount of information is growing rapidly, right? The amount of evidence that you have to analyze is increasing. And so we've got to provide more efficient ways to get this information off of devices. We've got to find more efficient ways of managing this evidence because the old trends of, using removable media and sneakernet, although it's hard to believe, still exist in many agencies. So one of the trends is the migration to the cloud, right? So we've got to manage information more effectively, provide the ability to access and collaborate and share and review this information with relevant stakeholders more effectively. So that migration to the cloud, as well as the need for automation, the amount of information is huge. The number of cases is growing significantly. So automation can add, significant efficiency to agencies' workflows where staffing and training, can be restrictive and sometimes people can be understaffed for those capabilities.
Well, Mo, I'll ask the difficult question. If you're put in charge of investigating an incident in an agency, perhaps they don't want to put that in the cloud. Perhaps they want to maybe keep it in a locked file or some kind of a retained locally. So does your application work only in the cloud, or can it be on-prem, or what kind of applications do you have?
We provide, flexibility for that agency's needs. So we provide on-prem solutions. Some of our customers leverage a hybrid approach where some information is stored locally, some capabilities are provided through the cloud. And we also provide a cloud-based platform that is growing every day. And that's one of the reasons why we really focus on, compliance, whether that's CJIS compliance or FedRAMP compliance, to ensure that those customers who do decide to manage their workflows in the cloud can be, confident that the information is secure and federally compliant.
Wow, I walked into this interview, thought it was going to be, I'm just going to have, these three agencies listen to this, but, really this application is much, much broader than I ever imagined. And I think it's pretty interesting because we know there's going to be incidents, expect it. And the problem is, in order to prevent it, in order to be resilient, you have to know what happened, and then you can make some steps to remediate those problems. Final question here, Mo. So what do you think is going to happen in the next few years? Big incident, big shutdown, people going to understand security better? Is Zero Trust going to solve all the problems? Or what do you see happen from 40,000 feet here?
Yeah, so 40,000 feet, where I see is the trends that exist today can continue to grow, right? Unfortunately, crime isn't going away. And unfortunately, bad actors take every opportunity to leverage technology to hide their nefarious activities. So agencies are going to need to invest more and more in these technologies that help them access that information, manage it, and analyze it. In addition, what we want to do is provide automation to simplify and add efficiency to the workflows. And we'll need to extend these capabilities to the edge, to every user, analyst, investigator that needs them. So I believe that as agencies see the power of, Cellebrite's digital investigative platform, they're going to extend it and help stay ahead of the bad actors. So that's what I see happening.
Digital investigative platform. Wow. I'll have a link to the company in my show notes, and this is going to be an interesting discussion here. You have been listening to the Federal Tech Podcast with John Gilroy. I'd like to thank my guest, Maurice Cook, Global Head of Pre-Sales Engineering at Cellebrite, Cellebrite.